Hey, Coach Dave Klemic from Klemic Performance Method here. Man, I've been doing this for 20-something years. Formerly of the Kansas City Chiefs, formerly of Northeastern University, Hall of Famer. One of the, a track athlete also in the Hall of Fame for track and field. Also, coming from a family of track athletes, so we go way back. My brother's a U.S. national champion and the high jump U.S. record holder for a little while. 7'4.5". My just a background in track and field that goes back to when I was in probably first or second grade, and running at a high level. Just anecdotally, where I have seen people change and why I started coaching kids a certain way at certain ages and when it's appropriate, when it's inappropriate. It's neat to see that the research also backs up what I said, which was kind of just me knowing what I was doing and how to work with kids. Maturity plays into that. But anyway, really a big subject that we try to teach is how to a kid to apply forces to the ground. That's a skill as much as it is anything. It's a skill. You're trying to teach someone how to shoot a basketball or throw a baseball. There's all kind of skills involved, how to coordinate the agonist and antagonist muscles against each other, and how to make sure that your movements are efficient and they're not too muscled. There's enough whip and relaxation involved. Anyway, not to bore you, but it's just neat to see that the research that we found on here actually matches what we believed in our facility anecdotally. So, I mean, that's a big subject for us, is just teaching kids to apply force. That's in any direction, 360 degrees, but very, very much and very importantly, forward. So, and what we say, most athletes, you guys aren't really weak. You just don't know how to apply force and put it to the ground properly. Because they can do other things. You'll see them, like, they can, climb monkey bars, and they can jump off things and everything. It's not fun. We try to make it so it's fun enough and repetitive enough. So, like, you're doing both. Fun and repetitive. And those things have to be kind of at a young age. Just when we have a kid, we call our group Young Guns, appropriately, because they're young and there are guns. There are guys they're going to be. We do a lot of pistol running with them, but there's some exercises that we'll do with them that really produce a lot of help. They're going to change the way they run based off a few little things that they do. Some hurdles, some wickets, some resisted jumps, a little bit of resisted jumps, a lot of depth drops. So anything that allows them to grab the ground and express force and re-express force from the ground. Absorb shock, and then re-express force. These are things that are really important. The better they do that, the better athlete they can definitely be. And our limiter isn't the muscle, it's the coordination, right? And it's just like anything. Like, if you knew that mechanical leverage comes from leaning into a door instead of trying to squat or push the door, you can do it without any efforts whatsoever. You're doing nothing and you're applying force, right? Now apply force and add power to that. These are things that are, we're just trying to learn the skill of how to move. And that at a young age, we don't put kids through a lot of too much resisted movements. We do it sometimes. But more to help them lean and get in the proper position. So, people that are, like slow out of the blocks or have sloppy landings, they can't jump far, their legs feel heavy. Like those things are really not necessarily where you have a kid that's not. He looks like he's slow. The parents are like, guys, he's stuck in the mud, or like he's got cinder blocks in his feet or whatever. Sometimes these are just skills that you're acquiring as you grow up. They are hereditary too and genetic, but also I've seen kids, I'm just using our own people. As soon as we change their footwear, we take them out of their shoes and we make them have fun to jump and run, all of a sudden things change and we give them a number to hit and we chase a number down. So like we're kind of tricking them into wanting to apply their forces better. And what's really happened, the nervous system hasn't learned to fire the muscles in sequence or at the right time in the right direction. So we teach the sequence and then have drills that isolate it so that they can do it over and over and over, create that groove, that pattern in their brain, and they repeat. They just repeat it. It's just, as long as it's fun, they'll repeat it. If there's a measurement on it, they'll try to chase it down, especially little boys. Little girls too, but little boys are obsessive over that, over getting a number and beating it. And those are going to come with really high efforts. So sometimes we have to back the score out and do it without an effort so that they think about their technical stuff. So if you're trying to teach technical stuff, a lot of times back the number out so that they don't throw just straight effort into it. If you want super high efforts, then you got to put a number on it and they'll chase that down. Let's go over some myths and read what's real. Properly designed programs are safe and effective for young children, and as young as 5 too. And like I said, that's neat that people think, it's too young to start training. It's really not. It's as soon as you're interested, and I can back that up through American Journal of Sports Medicine, or even Jeff Hurd, strength and conditioning coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. During the pandemic, I started interviewing all my coaches that have coached me over the years, and they'll say the same thing. They're like, when should we start training? As soon as they're interested. 5 years old seems to be the cutoff where people get interested, or you're the immature and they're not interested in this. They just want to free play, and I totally love free play. But I also, at 5 years old, you'll start to see people that are interested. Now, if you're not interested, that's okay. You may get it a little bit later. Some people are mature enough to start at 5. And that's a very big factor on how well you can improve at a young age. So maturity does play into skill acquisition. The most focused, most dialed-in athlete I've ever had, his name is Destin Lasco. He's a world-class swimmer. His ability at a young age to acquire skills and stay on task and just be interested for very long periods of time is his best attribute. Very athletic kid, but you can't beat his want to. You can't beat him there, and he'll outwork you and he'll out-interest you. He's very interested, which makes his reps different. If you're not interested, your reps are different. So we have to see where they are maturity-wise, but they're safe as long as they're, we program it properly. You can do it improperly too and be too aggressive. This next slide, he says, not bigger muscles, a smarter nervous system. Yep. Neural drive, how fast the brain can recruit muscle, motor control, firing muscle at the right time, and movement skill. Repeatable, efficient positions under load. Our loads with a kid is usually just their own body weight when they're jumping, like these, our young guns group, which is like basically 5 to 9 typically. And then you can test out. In our group, we can test up to, if you get to 15 miles per hour, we usually move you out of that group or invite you out unless you're just very immature or you don't want to be with that group. But these things are neat in that we can figure out how the brain's working, how to control it, and how to move the muscle along, using it during the right period of the phase of the sprint, and then we shut everything else off. We try to relax the most. We try to teach a kid not to straight effort things, but to relax the antagonist muscles and fire the agonist muscle. And it's like, you're not going to say those words to a kid, but that's what we're doing, Number behind the speed, force into the ground, body weight per stride. It's your 3 to 4 times your body weight, and your time to apply it, very short, right? So you're talking about short periods of time to apply a lot of force. So those things we have to practice, okay? They take first depth drops so we can start absorbing the shock, and then try to bypass the Golgi tendon apparatus, and then be able to apply the myotatic stretch reflex. Those are really important. And although we're not talking about it like in front of kids, that's what we're trying to do. 2 tools, that's all they need. Sprinting and plyometrics. And that's basically what our young guns is. We sprint, we try to hit. The only test that we really do is peak miles per hour right there, and then we plyo that out of them, meaning plyometrics are defined. Recently, they're defined as any exercise where ground contacts are below 0.24 seconds. That's considered your plyometric exercise. You got to get on and off the ground fast, right? So we're training the brain more than the muscle. Woof, sprinting, single leg power, full kinetic chain, and no substitute for sprinting. And nothing you can do in the weight room, nothing will substitute for the sprint. It is a full, you're using the spinal engine, you're using the power off of your leg, just like a jump. It's a jump. Sprinting looks like a series of jumps at different levels. And then you really get to, there's no exercise that I've ever found to substitute straight sprinting. And guess what? Nobody likes to do it. I just don't. It's my favorite thing to do. I love the sprint. I'm a little bummed out right now because I'm hurt. But my meniscus is killing me, and that's killing me to not be able to sprint right now. But it does everything. Everything you need to coordinate. Now we got to get good at it. You know what I mean? Just like you don't want to keep throwing half-court hook shots and throwing shots all over the place. We want to be able to acquire a skill to stroke a shot from a perfect angle and jump just like Steph Curry would. Well, we're going to do that with sprinting. Do it like Usain Bolt did or Carl Lewis did for some of you older people out there. All right? And plyometrics. We teach you absorb, store, and release. It's how it works. Absorb the ground first. Remember the depth drops. Then we store it through our amortization time. And then, bam, we re-release it back in another direction. So it's a step process. But also, we talk about, this is the other side of that. It's like 2 parts. What we don't tell you is, and you're probably not interested in, but it becomes important, is that all of these exercises, when done well, you also get the benefit of longevity because you don't get as many injuries. There was a test, I think it was called the PEP test, done in California, where it would show you that anybody that does these exercises, really like that we're teaching, you had like a 70% less non-contact injury rate. Wow. Right? Non-contact, meaning like if you just hit the ground weird. If somebody runs into you, you can't help that. But non-contact, that's just you touching the ground. That's just you and the ground. Okay, and that thing is a huge factor, especially for girls. The girls need this more than anybody, and we see the least girls of any group that we have, any sports that we have. So we probably see about 20% girls, and they're 50% of the population. So there's something missing there, and they get all the injuries. So and we have we got the juice. We got it to fix that. So learning to land, like we said, your quick feet, no sounds. We're trying to get an absorbing shock from the ground, landing the athletic stance so we don't have valgus or varus angling, and knees, your knees and toes track together without the caving of the valgus angling, which one's that's one that grinds out the meniscus, especially on girls, as we said. Learning to jump, skips, hops, bounds, and broad jumps. These are like, these are things that we used to do as kids, and we had, we would just skip around and jump rope. I don't know when's the last time I saw a kid jumping rope, but we used to do that all the time. I went to St. Joe's grade school. We had kickballs and jump ropes, and we learned a double dutch. We learned, and then this is not something we teach in here, but you should definitely know we are going to skip, hop, and bound, and broad jump. That's going to happen all the time. We're going like 10 to 30 yards on jumps, or sprints, with full recovery, and then we were focusing on a lot of technique. Matter of fact, we tell everybody, your times are going to drop if these technical qualities are done well today. You will see that your time, even that day, that's how quickly these kids can acquire skills. That quick. It may, at that age, their neuroplasticity levels are so soft, they can change things almost instantly. So, and then their practice will dictate how fast they're going to run in the end. It's wild. So this week, try this. Watch your kid land from a jump. Is it soft? Is it loud? Is he pounding his heels on the ground? Is there varus or valgus angling? And then add 2 short sprint sessions. Do 6 to 8 reps, 10 to 20 yards. That's it. Let them fire up their central nervous system, and then do some skips and bounds. That's it. Just go out there and just try that. And then, call us, or, when after you get through that and you've actually tried to do it. Now, obviously, we have all the tools and the isolated, everything's measured and quantified here in a gait analysis situation, but honestly, it's pretty simple to start and then take the next step. But anyway, if you like the video, please subscribe to our channel, and I hope to see you in the next one. And anyway, comment if you had any questions about this, and if you're a parent that was looking at you wanted a little bit more information, if you add some comments in there, I'll try to answer all of them. Till then, next time, there's David Klemic from Klemic Performance Method in Summers Point, New Jersey, our new facility. I wish you guys could see it. Bye.